Welcome, friends. We are here to honor Susan, and it is with profound sadness, as it was written, we announce the passing of Susan Stutheit, beloved sister, loved dog mother of the most loved fur babies and dear friends. She was the daughter of Doris and Ralph, born June 26, 1960, in Lincoln, Nebraska, where she lived her entire life. Susan received her BFA from the University of Nebraska, where she met great friends as a member of Alpha Delta Pi. And I forgot my glasses, so that's better. She was a member of the American Society of Interior Designers and was admired and respected for her talent and skill for combining new and old in her designs. There wasn't an animal print that she didn't like, as I can see around the room here. She loved sheath dresses as much as fancy cascading flower garments, highlighted with her signature collection of accessories. She loved lunch at the country club with a salad and a cucumber vodka cocktail. She lived for the hunt of design gems and loved the adventure of helping her clients design their dream spaces. We will forever remember her laugh, so often followed by her OMG words. Susan is survived by her sisters Jane Snow and Deidre Wilson, brother-in-law Marvin, nieces, nephews, and cousins. She had several dear friends who eased her pain in her final days. She will be greatly missed. My name is Kevin Shin. Some of you probably might know me as a chef, former chef here in town, but in a past life, I was a pastor for about 18 years. And when I made the transition from pastor to chef, people kind of questioned that. And boy, that's a big change. I said, no, I'm still taking care of people. I just do it in a different setting. And so I'm now back into a little chapel and out of my kitchen. But I'm still trying to take care of people and bring a word of hope. And as I sat to write this eulogy, the words that came to mind immediately were sad ones. Grief, tears, sorrow, sadness, pain, ache, longing, missing, heartache. And whatever word you identify with this afternoon, I want to give you permission to fully embrace it. Don't try to hurry through it. Don't try to dismiss or discard it. Be fully here right now. Because this is how you will best honor Susan and her memory that you hold. Because some of you are dressed in a way to honor her sense of style, the animal print around your neck, the shoes. That's a beautiful expression of honor to Susan. And your heart aches because Susan's life was important. The pain is great because her life mattered. If it didn't matter, we would just carry on. We wouldn't stop here today to remember. And in times like these, there is a temptation to brush it off because it's too uncomfortable. It hurts too much. But in doing so, we offer what every living soul longs for, and that is to be honored. And our honest and vulnerable presence here is one simple way we can honor the woman we knew as Susan Stutheit. To honor means to show honor means to courageously treat people according to their true identity and call them by the names that God has given them, and not according to the aliases they received from other people, the chief name of which we and she are known is beloved. Susan was beloved by her maker and beloved by you. That's very obvious. So one way we honor Susan is to courageously go there, feel her loss from our lives. I did not have the privilege of knowing Susan, but it didn't take long for two words to emerge in my conversations and my observations of her photographs. And I think you will concur with these two words. Let me spell them out as I understand them. She loved animals, especially her dogs, Pearl, Ricky, Dodie, Blue. And dog owners understand something unique about their pets, but also from their pets. Dogs provide an unusual sense of connection. We have a relationship with our dogs that we can't have with humans. When I became a widower last year, my dog took on new importance to me. When we find ourselves unattached, a dog can help fill that gap. And I thought about Susan this morning as I observed my dog. He slept at the foot of my bed last night. Soon after I arose and made coffee, sat in my usual chair, he followed me there, jumped up beside me, and made the pushing motion with his nose to cover him up. Susan no doubt had her own rituals like this. She was like me. She expressed this need through the animals that loved her. It's no wonder she wanted to pay this forward by speaking her gratitude for these little creatures that make us feel a little more safe and a little more connected. The second word that came to mind was, I noticed a deep love of beauty and how it was manifested in her sense of style. I believe every human heart craves beauty. And she gave herself permission to indulge it uniquely. She expressed it in the fabrics, animal prints, the gorgeous details she discovered and used to fill a room, and of course that bright red lipstick. Beauty wants to be seen, and it wants to be adored. This was a way to tell the world, I want you to see me. And Susan, we see you today, and we honor you today. The heart knows three languages. And the first language is language of words. And for me as a writer, words are all I have available to communicate. When I sat down to write these words today, I had to think through and find the right ones to convey what Susan meant to all of you. I did not have the privilege of knowing her the way you did. I don't have the emotions of the stories or the images of her style and beauty as it was played out on the canvas of a room. In the written word, there's no nonverbal cue to access or rely on. There is punctuation and an exclamation mark, but this is terribly inadequate. And in this way, words can fall short, and I understand and accept that limitation as a writer. But the second language of the heart is music. Music is what words want to be when they grow up. But words grieve because music isn't reliant on them to communicate the heart's message. Music has access to rhythm, melody, and harmony, as well as words, to convey its ideas. And when I face loss, I always turn to music to console me. I let it speak on my behalf when words are inadequate. But there are times that even music has its limitations. So the heart needs to rely on its third language, and that's the language of tears. Tears allow the heart to express the feelings locked deep inside the hidden places that even words and music don't know how to deliver. Honor is one reason God gave us the ability to cry. He gifted us with tears because he knew life would include sorrow like today. And he always makes a way for us to prevail through sorrow. Tears are not something to be afraid of. And I extend that same permission to you today. Tears are essential to grief. They don't need words or music. Tears are adequate in themselves to express its unseen and mysterious message. So friends, we need not be afraid of moments like this because sorrow is not a destination. What we feel today will eventually lift, and instead we think of it as a valley on our journey upward. We would rather live high on a plane and enjoy the vistas from above, but we don't go from peak to peak without traversing a valley between. And I'll close with this. Let you hold this in Susan's honor. Sorrow is a temporary state. It's an emotion that lasts a short season. Sorrow lasts for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Sorrow is temporary, and joy is eternal. Sorrow comes to pass, and joy comes to stay. We had someone else speaking.
Hi. I'm Linda Walford. Susan and I became friends about 18 years ago when we started working together at Armstrong Interiors. And I have to tell you, when I first met Susan, I was very intimidated by her. She was incredibly talented. She dressed fabulous and was very confident, everything I wasn't. But I soon found out she was also funny, friendly, helpful, and she took on a mentor role with me. And I learned so very much from her. I remember hanging out on the dock after work. These are good memories. We'd have a drink, smoke a clove cigarette, and we'd talk and talk and talk. And she could always keep a good conversation going. After I left Armstrong's, we lost touch with each other, and the years went by. And then, out of the blue, she commented on a Facebook post of mine. It was a picture of my dog, Liam. And she said, "He's adorable. I must meet him." And just like that, our friendship picked right up again, as if no time had passed at all. And they say that happens between good friends. However, this time was a little different. I was going through a divorce, and she was a gift from heaven, a friend when I really needed a friend to help me through a tough time. I saw Susan differently this time. She was protective and loving and loyal, and if I ever needed a pity party, she humored me, but then made me stop feeling sorry for myself and helped me move forward. Friendships are funny. You think the best ones would be based on the things that you have in common. And in many ways, ours was, but in many more ways, we didn't have a lot in common. I didn't know anything about fine art, poetry, opera. I don't wear much makeup, and I wasn't really into fashion. I didn't get my nails done, still don't, or wear very much jewelry even. My house was far more minimal and simpler than hers. But we had one thing in common that tied us together and still does to this day, and that's our dogs. Through this connection, I saw a very different side of Susan. I saw how deeply she could love. I saw her vulnerability, and I saw her maternal side. This Susan would do anything for her babies. And in the end, she even gave them up to make sure that they were cared for. Friendship is about those who enter your life, say they are there for you, and then they prove it. Susan was very lucky at the end of her life that she had friends like this who were there for her. Linda Wibbles, you are a pillar of strength and determination. With all your hard work these last few months, without all your hard work these last few months, she wouldn't have been able to get the help and the funds she so desperately needed. If I were picking a team, Linda would be my first pick. Jane Yowell, she's not here right now, but I know Susan had many friends in her life, but the two of you were soul sisters. So many times in your life, you were there for her, including her final hours at the hospice. and I'm quite sure it meant the world to her. It did to me. Amy Caruso, everyone needs a girlfriend like you, someone who will crawl into bed with you, wrap their arms around you, and comfort you. It wasn't hard to see how much you loved her and how much she loved you. Susan was there for me when I needed a friend. I promised her I would be there for her. I did what I could, and I'm sure she was thankful. When it was time to go to the hospital, she so struggled with it. She couldn't bear to leave her girls. I'm convinced she knew deep down inside it would be the last time that she saw them. I know how hard that was for her, and I'm glad she trusted me with them. I had 2 dogs, Liam and Sophie. Both were Cavachons, which is half Bichon, half King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. And she always called them the Cavachons. And I called her babies the Poodles. I would often ask Liam and Sophie if they wanted to go see the Poodles. And they would get so excited. They loved going over to Susan's, hanging out in the backyard with Susan and I and the Poodles. I lost my Liam and Sophie last year. Susan's now with her babies, Dodie and Mo and Blue, and I'm betting the Cavachons are hanging out with her too. Susan, you watch over my babies and I'll watch over yours until we meet again. I wanted to read a poem to you about death that I find comfort in, and I know it was Susan's favorite. It's called Death is Nothing at All by Henry Scott Holland. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched and unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by the old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnness or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I'm out of sight? I am but waiting for you, for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well, nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. And oh, how we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again.
Hi, I'm Heidi Piccini, and I met Susan in 1980. That was 40 years ago. How can that be? And when I first met, we were instant friends. And we were friends because we loved fashion, we loved makeup, especially lipstick and nail polish and cute shoes. And Susan had the absolutely most gorgeous long blonde hair of anybody I've ever seen in my life, still to this day. So it was the 80s. Terry was there too. So the fashion then was preppy. I don't know how many of you remember the preppy look, but we had striped Oxford shirts that had buttoned down, and the stripes were usually blue or green, sometimes red. Well, Susan worked at Sears, and she rocked the preppy look, but she didn't wear blue stripes. No, it was always some flair that came with whatever she picked out. And you'd say, oh my gosh, Susan, I love your outfit. It came from Sears, she'd say. So that was, and then also the Shetland sweater that you'd wear over the top, the crew neck Shetland sweater. And I can't tell you how cute Susan looked in that outfit. However, if we dressed up, the heels were always like this. Then, after we got out of college, and it was kind of the mid-'80s, Susan went through what we call the leather and lace phase. I don't know how many of you hung out with Susan during that time, but I'm telling you, she rocked that look too. We'd see her at the zoo bar or someplace out and about. And when I say that, it wasn't tacky in any way. All I can say is she looked absolutely gorgeous when she had her leather pants and her white lace top on. Then there was the all black phase. And then more recently, more color, animal prints, pops of color coming in. But she's always had a signature style during a period of time that I've known her, which is 40 years. But the most important thing I want to say about Susan is it's not that style on the outside. It was what was inside. Susan was a loyal daughter to her mother. She was her mother's best friend, and they did so much together. And when Doris passed away, it really transformed Susan's life. That's when she became really involved with her fur babies, and it was wonderful that she found an outlet for all that time to replace that time she spent devoted to her mother. Susan was a loyal, loving, true friend to so many of us. And that goes right along with that beautiful outside. So to those of you, Kevin, who didn't know her, I just want to assure you that what you see on the outside with Susan was magnified on the inside. And she really was a true friend. Never felt judged by Susan, never felt like she wasn't there. And she actually, when I married Tom and I married, I was 3 years out of college, I guess. And so Susan and I were still doing quite a few things together. And when she met Tom, she says, well, now we've just got to find my Tom. So she just always loved Tom. She loved my son. And she was just a wonderful person. And she will be missed terribly. So I thought I would close. In October of 1980, Susan gave me this poem. And it's got her beautiful handwriting. And it says, someone to talk with, to dance with, to sing with, to eat with, to laugh with, to cry with, to think with, to understand, someone to be my friend. So, and she signed that she was my pledge mother, and she signed that love and loyalty, your 80 pie mother and friend, Susan. So, rest in peace, Susan. We love you.
this concludes our service. Thank you all for coming and showing honor to Susan. You're dismissed.